Hey Grauwelt fans, it's me again, Vic Salinas. As this video comes out, we're in the midst of November, which is National Novel Writing Month, or NaNoWriMo as it's most often called. And I wanted to make this video kind of as a follow-up to last year's NaNoWriMo video. I did a video on that subject last year. I'll link to it in the video and in the video description if you guys would like to check that out. And I just feel it's my place as a very minor YouTube writing personality to give my opinion on NaNoWriMo. I've seen, as I'm sure you have, a lot of the videos coming out around this time of year, people that are participating. I myself do not participate in NaNoWriMo, and one of the major reasons is that I don't feel it's a very good tool to be a writer. So what I mean by that, just like with any art or practice, the most important thing is building up good habits. So if you get into the habit of only practicing your craft for a very short period of time and then cease doing it, you're not going to build up the necessary routine, the necessary habit to continue that when it's not that time frame. So you're just kind of priming yourself to work really hard for a short period of time and not really get a very big payoff in the long run. I've said this before, habit is the most important part of really doing anything. The more willpower you have to expend to get something done, the more likely you are to fail. A popular example that I like to use is with diet and exercise. I consider myself a fairly healthy person. I run a lot. Maybe 80% of the time I eat pretty well. The other 20% I like to eat, food just for fun, junk food. But for me, people ask me, how do you keep up with good exercise and diet regimen? They find it really hard to get the willpower to get up in the morning and exercise or to eat healthily on a regular basis. And I don't really even think about it because I've done it for so long. I started running when I was a teenager and still doing it. And I've just done those things for so long that they're ingrained. I don't think twice. When I'm at the grocery store shopping for something, I don't go for the junk food. I go for the stuff that I should have or that I've taught myself to buy. And it's just second nature. Same with exercise. It's just right around the time that I usually exercise every day. I find myself already getting dressed and getting out there, and before I know it, I'm already running. So it just becomes a habit. The big thing about NaNoWriMo is, delaying your desire, your effort to work on something until November and containing it just within that month of November is a rather dangerous idea. Whenever you get the inclination to start working on something, you should start it right away, that very instant, and just get in the habit, get in the ritual of doing it on a regular basis. Set aside a certain amount of time every day, or a few days a week, what have you, and pretty soon that will become second nature. I've seen a lot of people who want to become writers who start writing a novel during NaNoWriMo, and then they never go back to it because they get burnt out. They try too much too fast. If you're not really experienced, or even if you are, trying to finish an entire novel in just 1 month's time is a really hard task, even for an expert writer. And the more inexperienced you are trying to go into that, the more quickly you'll get burnt out. To again use the exercise example, if you want to run a marathon, you can't go from sitting on the couch all day to running 26.2 miles in one day. You have to take very small increments. So one day you're only going to be able to run for a quarter mile, and then maybe after a week you can go half, and then after a month you can do a whole mile, and then maybe a year or two later you can finally get a marathon done at once. And it's something that takes very slow, steady progression and the buildup of a habit. And I think the whole NaNoWriMo crowd kind of overlooks that. They want an easy way out. Yeah, it's fun, it's festive, we set aside a time of year where a bunch of people get together and they talk about writing and they do writing. But what are they doing the other 11 months to really get around that? So if you guys do participate in NaNoWriMo, I'd like to know what your reasons are, why, how did you learn about it, how has it worked for you? For me personally, I did try it before. Not a really big fan of it because, again, it does not build up the successful habits that you need to continue on. I think if you try to get a novel manuscript done in 1 month, which would not be my recommendation. You'll get so burnt out that you won't want to follow up with the editing, because once the manuscript's done, you're really only done with like 10 or 20% of the work. You still have most of the work left to do, and it's a really, really big task. So especially if you're just starting out or you're not that experienced, you should take it very, very slowly and just work on building a daily habit. So if you guys have found success with that, or you haven't, just share your NaNoWriMo experiences with me in the comments. I'd be very eager to hear from you guys what you guys think about that, since now you know very well how I think about it. So just recently I finished reading a book from one of my favorite minor celebrities, How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big. This is from Scott Adams, who is the creator of the Dilbert comic strip. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of or like Dilbert. This is a very, very short read. It's very quick. I got it done in just 2 days, reading in between doing other activities. And he really drives home that point. Scott Adams pretty much lives by that principle of building habits, and he talks about using willpower versus using automation. So if you have to resist the tray of cookies on the table and it takes a lot of willpower to do that, you can only do that so much before your willpower gets exhausted. However, if you slowly train yourself to avoid the tray of cookies, eventually you won't even think about it and you'll just pass right by and not even worry about touching them. So the NaNoWriMo concept, to me, folds in perfectly with Scott Adams' ideas about willpower versus automation. If you become almost like a robot, a writing automaton, where every day you write for an hour or two at a certain period of time, you'll do it automatically without even thinking about it, and it won't become an effort. It'll just be one of the things you do, like brush your teeth or get a shower, hopefully, every day, and it's not something you really think about. If you have to drag yourself to your computer or to your writing desk and pull out the paper, turn on your computer, get your pen out, and it just becomes laborious, you can only do that so many times before you get totally burnt out. So he's really good at describing his own process on how to take very small steps towards getting to building an adequate system, because that's really what you want. He talks also about goals versus systems. He says that goals are for losers. If you say, I want to get a novel done, that's not really what you should aim for. You should build a system that writes novels. So again, build up the habits, and once you have the habits, you'll crank out any number of novels very easily, rather than trying to look at it as a big mountain that you have to climb. Don't pay attention to the mountain, just start walking and get used to walking. It's kind of the best way I can explain that. So I'll wrap this video up by again asking everyone what you guys think about NaNoWriMo. Are you participating? Have you participated in the past? Have you found any success with it? Or like me, did you try it out and it just didn't work for you, or maybe it never sounded like an interesting idea to you at all? I'll link to my video from last year about NaNoWriMo in the video description and also in the video itself, so if you'd like, you can check that out and compare what I said last year to this year. I think every year I'll just add a little more to that subject. It's very interesting to me how many people do participate, and I really do think it's a good idea to get people excited and active about reading and writing. However, I don't know that enough people walk away with the right message. It shouldn't be something that you just do 1 month out of the year. It really should be the focus on building good habits to do it all the time, because that's what people really who love writing and reading really want to do, is make a career out of it, make a hobby out of it. And the only way you can do that successfully is take very slow baby steps and build your way up. Don't forget to rate and share this video if you liked it, and subscribe to the Grauwelt channel. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.